Today we'll be uh, going over basic photo editing from Xenialpup32 32-bit operating system. As shown here, what you will have to do first is you'll have to install two programs. One is Gthumb, which looks like this, and the other is GIMP 2.8. Both can be downloaded from Puppy Package Manager. After it's downloaded and installed, if you start Gthumb, it will have a interface somewhat similar to this. If it doesn't, you may want to just tap on F9. It's gonna let you toggle side panel here, which is helpful in navigating, similar to a file manager. So I've taken some photos just a few minutes ago, and I have elected to put it under a P4 folder in my case. These photos I've taken from Pixel phone. That's why I put in P4. And just to make it easier to see, I'm just gonna make it maximize, and then we can look at the briefly side panel I mentioned, and this is the thumbnail view of the pictures. To edit the pictures, what you have to do is just click on one of the photos, and then you come to something like this. And if you don't see the editing tools, we just tap on E, and you'll toggle on and off. So, and you can see that I have you may have your photos on the bottom, but I prefer to have it on the side, and that can be controlled through the preferences here. But let's take a look at this picture. How to edit. So there are several edit applets here, and one of the things that we may want to do right away is just go ahead and straighten the picture. So we can go ahead and click on rotate here, and it's going to come out with a line and angle and so on. So we're going to keep the aspect ratio, and we'll go ahead and use the middle mouse wheel, and then go ahead and try to make it fairly straight. And I think this looks just about perfect in my case to my eye. So either, yeah, okay, and we'll go ahead and accept it. So now you straighten the photo out. Just for aesthetics, I think that what we may want to do next is go ahead and perhaps crop the picture a little bit. So I think the emphasis is this person going in, and actually the other, this is a statue. So within this photo frame, so we'll go ahead and click on this crop, and then you can see that there is a crop window here, but that's it's horizontal. We need it vertical. We'll go ahead and invert aspect ratio. The program is smart enough to know that my screen is 1920 by 1200, so this is preferentially to my screen aspect ratio, but you can make it none, so you can go ahead and make it any size you want. Or there are several squares, for example. You can go ahead and make it a square. I suppose a square could be okay here, something like this, but we'll go ahead and make it screen wise, and then we've made it vertical rather than horizontal. And then I think this little button is very helpful when I do a simple photo editing. I have to confess, I am a photo buff, and then but I usually almost always use Darktable program, but that requires 64-bit machine. But today it's going to be a 32-bit operating system, Xenialpup32, and then also Gthumb as the primary editing tool, and later on we'll go ahead and use the GIMP also. But just to maximize, it keeps the aspect ratio, and I think that in this case I prefer that my screen aspect ratio not be used, because I'll never view this photo in a vertical space. Rather I would go ahead and use the original image, and this was where it was taken, and then go ahead and maximize again, and then we'll go ahead and make it slightly smaller to emphasize these two subjects here, and perhaps a little bit more, and then we'll go ahead and accept at this point. Although I think that color looks fine, something like this I probably prefer black and white, because the color detail is not that important, but stand out whitish to black in a black and white I think is more perhaps artistic or to my liking. So we'll go ahead and try Grayscale here, and then you can see that there are three main tabs that you can choose, and then we'll go ahead and look at the brightness and then saturation. You can see there's slight difference going from one to the other, and the average will go again to brightness, and then saturation. I think I prefer saturation, so we'll go ahead and accept it at this point. Okay, so now we made some changes to the original file. What we can do is just go ahead and save it. So just to save it to save the file, you just click here, and then it's saving it. So now the original has been overwritten by this new file. So now this is usually I would stop here, but I think that if there is there occasionally when you may want to do a further localized editing, and then here within Gthumb you can simply tap the key G, and it'll launch the GIMP. So GIMP will launch, and then will also import the same file after which you saved on a Gthumb. So just to make it slightly bigger, we'll go ahead and Shift Control J will fill the window here. So usually what I try to do is perhaps in a case like this, I may want to just make this, let's say this bottom portion slightly more contrasty. So see what we can do. So it's easy to go ahead and change the contrast and whatever the color in a whole picture in Gthumb, but I think that occasionally you'll have photos where you'll want to just have one section that have a different contrast or additional change. So we'll go ahead and briefly go through GIMP. So GIMP, first thing we may want to do is what's called use a mask layer. So it will mask out all the other part of the photo, but we'll go ahead and try to change a localized area. So we can go ahead and do that by making another image, identical image, and then on the top image, what we want to do is just go ahead and add a mask layer as here, and then we want to make it full. So what it says is any changes that you make here on this file is going to be reflected by this mask, a white mask, which means that it'll go ahead and show everything. So we'll go ahead and click here on the image itself, and we'll make a change. Let's say we want to make it dark. So we'll go ahead and click on the curve, and then click again, and then we'll go ahead and make a change here. So let's make it dark, so it's very dark. Okay, now we don't want to make it so dark up here, but maybe we want to just make it slightly more dark here, more contrasty. So what we can do is, it's all, it's a personal preference, so we'll go ahead and click OK. But what we want to do is we want to make this change primarily down here. So what we'll do is we'll have to go to the mask, and we'll have to manipulate with the mask to block out the rest of the photos. So what we'll have to do is we can go ahead and go to gradient, and so right now the top is black, so whatever is black color is not going to show. So we'll go straight down with the left click, and then go pretty much all the way down near the stairs. So we'll go ahead and let go, see what happens. What this means is that this changes is sort of blocked off in the black area. So right now this area is still a little too dark, so we'll go ahead and do it one more time. Oops. So we don't want to do that. Control Z will and then let me just zoom out a little bit, so we can go ahead and view, zoom in and out. We're gonna zoom out a bit. Okay, so we'll go ahead and click again the shade, and again this so we can go ahead and give it another try. So now the changes are mainly reflected down here. We can tell by clicking here that will make this whole thing invisible. So original should have a lighter, less contrast in here. So we'll go ahead and see the original. You can see the original is less contrasty. Now we've managed to add primarily a changes of dark and whitish background here. And this is just an example. So after these changes are done, so localized editing is done, what you need to do is, in a GIMP, you need to merge the layers, merge down. So it just combines all the changes into one. This is the final product as far as GIMP is concerned. So what you have to do is you have to pass the changes made to the Gthumb. So what we can do is just to overwrite the original file that was sent from the Gthumb. So we'll just go ahead and overwrite it. We'll go ahead and export. So we'll go ahead and close the GIMP, disregard changes. Now you can see that the changes we made in GIMP is reflected in Gthumb. So that's how you can utilize localized changes that you want to make with a GIMP when GIMP is installed. So again, this is the Gthumb. We'll go ahead and enlarge it, and then we'll go ahead and click on this first picture here. And this is a picture of a bus stop. So we'll go ahead and first thing we want to do is we want to make it go ahead and straighten it out. So we'll go ahead and use the rotate tool here, and then we'll go ahead and use the scroll, middle button scroll mouse, so you can go ahead and just roughly so this will go ahead and accept this change, so it'll make it a little straighter. Good. And then what we want to do is we want to crop it, so we want to use this picture as a wallpaper on our screen. So we'll go ahead and click on this crop tool, and then see, when we want to crop it to the aspect ratio of the screen, so we'll go ahead and this aspect ratio is the screen here, and we'll go ahead and maximize again, and I think it's about the middle, so just about, but we'll go ahead and try to get a little bit closer, and then we'll go ahead and I think this should do. We'll go ahead and accept. So overall it's a little dark in the middle, in the shade area, so we'll just go ahead and lighten it up a little bit. We'll just color change, and this is represents the shaded area with the high peaks, a lot of shaded content. So we'll go ahead and grab it down here a little bit and then raise it up a little bit, so you'll predominantly just lighten up the shaded area. So we'll go ahead and accept that. I think that looks much better. You can see more detail now, and you can go ahead and explore other buttons too, but what I end up using in my simple basic photo editing is rotate, crop, and then curve a lot, and occasionally grayscale buttons for black and white. So I think this looks pretty good, so we'll go ahead and save it. So we'll go ahead and save the photo, and what we'll do is we saved it, so we'll go ahead and we saved it, and the photo is on under P4 folder. So we'll go ahead and what we'll try to do is replace this desktop picture with that photo we just edited. So we'll go ahead and right click on the space, desk space, and we'll go down to the backdrop here, click on left click, and then we'll go ahead and drag that photo we just added. So it's under it's one of these photos here under my picture P4. We'll go ahead and enlarge it, and this is looks like this is the photo. So we'll go ahead and drag, left click and drag, and then voila, this is what we have. So we'll go ahead, this is going to be, because of the aspect ratio is exactly for the screen, it doesn't really matter, but usually I use it at use the fit and close. So this that should cover the basics of how to photo edit using GIMP, and also just to edit one of your pictures to make it your screen wallpaper. I hope you find it interesting. If you have any questions or requests for another topic of interest, let me know.